Hello, everybody. I'm Nicholas from Digital Yacht. So us, we're a UK marine electronics company, and as you may hear, I'm French, and I'm in charge of the marketing at Digital Yacht. And here we got Claudio as well, and Pietro from the Aqua Map navigation app. So for today's webinar, how we'll start is, first of all, we're gonna start by explaining roughly about the AquaMap app, a quick overview about the app, main features, how to use it, etc. And then we're going to show it how to use it with Digital Yacht products. And then after the Digital Yacht parts, Claudio will take in charge of the webinar and will display the app and will go through most of the features of his app. And at the end, we're going to run a Q&A sessions. So if you have any questions regarding the app or about Digital Yacht products, please feel free to wait at the end and we'll reply to all the questions. At the end of the webinar, we're going to unmute all your mic. So if you have any questions, feel free to talk directly at the end of this webinar, or you can use the chat at the bottom. Feel free to ask any questions and Claudio or myself can reply to you via message. All right, so let's start today with a webinar about AquaMap and Digital Yacht.
Okay. Hi to everyone. I'm Claudio. I'm from Italy, and I'm one of the owners of AquaMap. And I will now quickly describe the main feature of AquaMap. And let's first of all say, what is AquaMap? You can go on the next slide. AquaMap is substantially a marine navigation app for your mobile devices, working for iOS and Android. We offer typical functionality that many chart plotter and many app has, and then we have something special on our own. Okay, let's go on the next slide. Here, just few points for people that is not really used to have the mobile devices on the boat. Why to use a mobile app? Well, the most simple part is that it's much less expensive than a chart plotter, but it's not just an economical point. You have something that is normally quite difficult to have on a chart plotter, like a very quick updates. For example, we update data in our charts, in our map, in our app, sorry, also daily. And you can use the same app on many devices. So you can have your wife use the app on the iPhone, meanwhile you're using the app on the iPad, or vice versa. And most of a lot of functionality are much easier to use on a mobile device compared to a chart plotter. And finally, you normally have a much higher level of customization, especially on the visual part. Okay, let's see the second slide, where substantially we put a little bit more in evidence our feature compared to the other mobile app. We do what all the other competitor does. Everyone do like marker, tracks, route, navigating. And then we have something that we do, hopefully, better than other. Or let's say different. For example, for the chart, we use only official charts that we regularly update. In US, for example, and in France, in UK, we update weekly our charts. And you can download them and use on your device, even if when you are completely not in coverage, so completely offline. We have a very powerful anchor alarm system that also allow you to check your boat meanwhile you are at the restaurant with our mirroring. So meanwhile you are at a restaurant, you can see whatever is going on your anchor alarm on the boat. We have marine forecasts for wind, waves, currents, and we have a quite interesting community of boater through our live sharing functionality that allows them to easily exchange route and tracks, contact each other. Next slide, please, Nicholas. We have the possibility to connect real-time NMEA instrument. We will see this in deeper later. We have a quite powerful functionality that allow you to have all your important information along your route or track. So we found all the bridges, the hazard, the marinas that your route and track go through or near, so that you have a sort of guide along your route. It's extremely easy to share and now import tracks, mark, and route. If you connect external device through Wi-Fi, you also can receive AIS target information. Again, we will see later more in depth. And finally, we integrate both AT Captain and Waterway Guide community. So you can have all the Waterway Guide and Active Captain POIs inside our app, downloaded in the app, usable offline, and integrated with your chart. Okay, this is a very quick overview of all our features. Then we have something special just for US, and just for US, because in US, there's plenty of public available data and that we integrated in the app. In particular, we integrated all the US Army Corps of Engineers surveys on the slide. You can see on the right a typical image when this type of data is overlaid to our chart. That is a very recognized and helpful tool for navigating a complex area, especially along the intracoastal waterway. And we also integrated the US Coast Guard list of light and the local notice to mariner. All the two data that we explained above are updated, the Army Corps of Engineers weekly and the US Coast Guard data daily. Then, as already said, we updated the NOAA chart weekly. We have a quite interesting database of tidal and current station. We have a special functionality of mile marker that allow you to search any mile marker along the internal water in US. And finally, we have for the marine forecast dedicated to US, estuarine current. So in the most important estuary in US, we use a special server made available by NOAA that give a very detailed and constantly updated currents information. Okay, this is a very, very quick overview of the app. Yeah, no, you can go on the next slide. Let's start to talk a little bit more on exactly what is the goal of this webinar. So, and this is the pages involved in the NMEA integration functionality. In this case, you see from the left to the right, the pages involved in connecting a digital yacht device. Substantially in the Wi-Fi connection, you create a new connection, you simply select the digital yacht device, and we press select in the page all the parameter that comes from the factory that has been given to us directly by digital yacht. So in the 99% of the cases, this is whatever you have to do. In case you have done something special, you will have to change the IP address and the port number in case your installation is a little bit more special. So this slide could be also useful as a referral later, but later we will also do a live demonstration how to use this functionality. Now I leave Nicholas explain a little bit more what is the other side of the moon.
Right, thank you, Claudio. Right, so now for this next part, we are going to explain how to get all your IS data on any other NMEA data from your instrument sensors onto the AquaMap app. So it's quite simple, but how to do it? First off, if you have any sensors on board, IS, depth, wind, compass, GPS, autopilot, whatever instrument you have on board, you must get what we call an NMEA to Wi-Fi server. Some other people may call it NMEA multiplexer Wi-Fi, NMEA to Wi-Fi gateway. Anyways, the same product is called an NMEA to Wi-Fi. And what is good also with the digital yacht NMEA to Wi-Fi server is if you already have a Wi-Fi on board for like 4G or Starlink or any other NMEA to Wi-Fi, you can simply merge our NMEA to Wi-Fi server directly to your existing Wi-Fi network. So therefore, you will get only one Wi-Fi local network on board to get all the data. So if you got a 4G router from whatever brand, you can merge or animate Wi-Fi to a 4G router and get all your 4G data as well as the NMEA data with our unit. So which NMEA to Wi-Fi do you need? Then it mostly depends on the sensors and instruments you got. So at Digital Yacht, if you go on our website, Digital Yacht America or digitalyacht.co.uk or .u.com, you can have a look. We actually list all the products from Raymarine, Vesper, M-Tract, Actisense, whatever, and how to connect any sensors, instrument, chart plotter to one of the Digital Yacht's NMEA to Wi-Fi server. So what is important to know is whether you got NMEA 0183 or NMEA 2000. Most of the old units sensors from more than 10 years ago actually use NMEA 0183, while actually now most of the new boats or new system from Garmin or Raymarine or even Furuno, they will be using NMEA 2000. So NMEA 2000 is quite simple. It uses a network with some T connectors, and with the products like Navlink 2, it comes with its own NMEA 2000 cable, and it will actually take its power from the NMEA 2000 network. So very simple NMEA 2000 Wi-Fi server to install. You just connect the NMEA 2000 cable to NMEA 2000 network. It will take its power. That's it. Job's done. So then both our units will create their own local Wi-Fi password protected Wi-Fi network. So then you enter the password and you turn on AquaMap, and all your navigation data will be displayed onto AquaMap. However, if you don't have an NMEA 2000 network on board, then if you have any range of different sensors from old Seatalk, from Raymarine or Furuno whatsoever, then you will need a WLN30, which is an NMEA 183 to Wi-Fi. But also it has a few inputs, so you can connect different NMEA 183 sensors onto the WLN30. However, a beauty also of using a tablet now with app like AquaMap is you can actually display IS target. When IS Class B was released more than 10 years ago, if you have a chart plotter like a C80 from Raymarine or a small Garmin, when you were displaying your IS target, it used to be a small screen and you could have been struggling to see the data or to get any information on the target. But with a tablet, it's actually quite simple. So with AquaMap, you can just display real IS target, and then with just your finger, you can just touch any target, and all the data will come up from MMSI, boat's name, dimensions, etc. And if it's a Class A, you'll get more information like destinations and so on. But Claudio, at the end of this webinar, will come back to these features and will explain more into how to display the IS targets onto AquaMap. So if you already have an IS transponders on board, all you need is a Wi-Fi NMEA to Wi-Fi server, like the WN30 on Navlink 2. But if you don't have an IS on board, what we'll suggest you is actually a very easy to install IS transceiver with Wi-Fi. So we got two units. The first one is EISTX, which is a very simple IS transponder, a very good unit and very simple to install. It comes with its own GPS antenna. All you need is a VHF antenna or VHF splitter, and then it has a built-in Wi-Fi network. So it just creates its own Wi-Fi on board. You connect your tablet, and then AquaMap will receive the GPS positions from the GPS antenna and as well as all the IS targets. What is very good as well, I forgot to mention that when a tablet uses GPS from an NMEA to Wi-Fi server, then you don't need to use a built-in GPS antenna of your tablet. And if you have an iPad or even Android, what use the battery of your tablet, but also for the long time, is when you use a built-in GPS antenna. So by receiving the GPS position from directly an NMEA to Wi-Fi, that will save a lot of your battery. So the first one is ESTX, we just transmit IIS and GPS data onto AquaMap. Or you got the AIT 5000, which is a Class B+, so it transmits more often. IS transponder with a built-in VHF antenna splitter. So for both your VHF radio and the AIS, you will be using the same VHF antenna. But then also what is good with this unit is it also has all the NMEA interface. So what you can do, you can actually connect your other sensors, depth, speed, autopilot, whatever, connect this onto the NMEA interface of the IIT 5000, and all the data will be transmitting over Wi-Fi. Meaning that with AquaMap, not only you will receive AIS and GPS data from the IIT 5000, but also all your other NMEA 183 data from your other sensors connected to the IIT 5000. So it was about AIS, but also very common questions we got more and more is how to get an internet connectivity on board as well as all your navigation data. So Digital Yacht have released the products a couple of years ago, excuse me. It's called 4G Extreme. And also in 2024, we're going to release a new one called 5G. So for 4G or 5G Extreme, how it works, as you can see on the pictures, it has a built-in NMEA 2000 cable, and then it can insert a SIM card. So any SIM card from AT&T in the US or Vodafone in Europe or Telstra in Australia, you just insert one or two SIM cards, and that unit will actually get internet from the 4G cellular tower, meaning that up to 25, even further in place like Italy, you can go up to 45 miles. The unit will actually get an internet connection, but not only the 4G Extreme will increase the range, but also it will increase the speed. So with the 4G Extreme, you will get internet up to 300 megabytes per second, which is an ultra fast internet access on board. But as well, because it has built-in NMEA 2000 cable, it will also get all your navigations data. So you just connect it to your Garmin or Raymarine, Furino, Simrad, whatever NMEA 2000 network you got on board. And the 4G or 5G Extreme will actually pick all your NMEA 2000, will take all of them and stream all the data over Wi-Fi as well as internet. So when you use AquaMap, you can download the grid files for the weather forecast, but as well as receiving live all your IS, GPS, and any other NMEA 2000 network. And as I can see, there's a lot of people here from the US. Also, I want to mention that 4G Extreme is actually a professional router, meaning that if you use Starlink, which is obviously very popular in US and probably soon in Europe, you could also use Starlink with a 4G Extreme. And the 4G Extreme will become your main router on board. So above 25 miles offshore, instead of using the 4G or 5G for internet, you will be using the Starlink antenna. And the Starlink antenna with the Ethernet adapter can be directly connected to the 4G or 5G Extreme. And as well as getting internet through Starlink or 4G, you will get all your NMEA 2000 data. So Digital Yacht products is quite easy to understand. However, if you have any questions, feel free to go to our website or to contact directly our US or Europe team for more information. We are based in UK, but also in US and in France. So if you give us a list of all your network or equipment we got on board, we can really help you out with the right products you will need. So that was it for the Digital Yacht part. At the end of this webinar, we're gonna come back with some live questions. So if you have any questions for the Digital Yacht products, you can directly write any questions on the chat box or wait for the end of this webinar. For the next part now, I'm going to give the access to Claudio, and Claudio is going to share his tablet, and he's going to run a live presentation of the app. Thank you all. Here you go, Claudio. Now you can share your tablet.
Okay. Do you see it?
Yes, can see it.
Okay, this demo is done using my Mac PC. Just for information, AquaMap ran on the last generation of Mac PC, the one that used the M1 and M2 chip. So this is the real use of the app, just that instead of on an iPhone or an iPad, is currently running on my Mac. But what you will see is exactly what you have on iPad. Here in this moment, I'm in my location using my GPS. So if I want to connect to an external device, I go on the setting and I open my Wi-Fi connection. If that I already have some set for the demo, but in case you don't have anyone, you should just create one. select the digital yacht you are interested on, and then everything is done substantially, because when you select, all the settings are already done, and you can simply start to use it. Okay, let's see now that the connection that I already have. In this case, I'm connecting to a PC simulator that is in my office. Let's start receiving the data. As soon as I receive the data, the GPS, you see, jumped. I'm currently here. I'm in the Chesapeake, entering on the Chesapeake Bay. Okay, and you see that we are not only receive GPS position, we also receive depth. You see on the left the window with 30 feet depth, wind, and AIS. For the depth, you can enter here any desired offset in case the data that you receive are some offset because you prefer to have below the keel or below the water setting.
Everything's a piece of crap, right, Harry?
You can set a vocal depth alarm. And also, eventually, you can ask the system to continually read the depth received in case you are in dangerous areas, and then you want to have a vocal advice on what is the water below your boat. Okay, let's finish to see the things about the receiving of data. In this case, everything in the app will use the received GPS. Here below, you see the information of the SOG and COG that are received, and also the quality of the signal that your external antenna is receiving. And any other functionality in the system from this moment onwards, we use the external GPS and not the internal one. In case you also have a AIS stream that you received but by AquaMap, you can have on the screen all the AIS target received. All this one, unfortunately, there is no one just near me at the moment. But anyway, these one are real target. The shaped one with an arrow are moving one, and the round are anchored one. And on each of these, you can simply tap and get all the information about this target. If you are interested, you can also get the full list of devices that are in the system, ordered by CPA, ordered by distance, ordered by name, as you prefer. And the very interesting part, in addition to a list of settings to customize what to exactly see on the screen, from the classes to if you want to see the mode, if you want to see the Eton or not, and also if you want to customize the size of the icon. This is an example of customization that I was saying previously, is the collision avoidance calculation. So the system automatically calculates any possible collision among your boat and all the received AIS target. And here you can set the parameter like the minimum allowed CPA, so the minimum distance to which your boat will go near another boat, and also the time. So you are just interested in the next 10 minutes or the next 5 minutes or whatever you prefer. In case any collision is detected, will sound an alarm. That could be just a beep or a vocal one. And also this box on the left, the one with AIS title, will become red and flashing. At the moment, it's displaying the worst CPA, so you can say that you are quite safe. There is any boat that is approaching you. Okay, this is regarding the AIS connection. I already said the list of info that you can receive, that is GPS, wind, depth, and
I'm not sure we're muted.
On the top, you can also see the reading received by your device.
Where does it say mute here?
As
I think they muted us all.
Nicholas
so
was
highlighting,
Sorry, there is someone with the microphone open, probably. As also Nicholas was highlighting, using a standard GPS could be very important for many reasons. Every one of us knows that the internal GPS on mobile devices is not so good as GPS.
Temporarily.
I don't want
For example, if you are anchored and you bring your device in your room, and that could be some problem in receiving the GPS. But if you are connected to the external GPS, you will get a perfect GPS data and signal inside your cabin. And I think this is a quite important improvement in the use of mobile devices. Okay, I make a quick overview, also because conceptually is quite simple. You have just to use a device like the digital one, come here, make the connection, and then everything is done. So the system will simply start to receive your data, showing on the left whatever it received, and started to use the data itself. So if I think that probably we can go directly on any question section, because maybe there is something that I was too fast explaining or not good enough in explaining how to use it. Nicholas?
I think you need to unmute everybody. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or feel free to ask any questions through the chat box, and then Claudio or myself could reply directly to any questions you may have, whether you want to see one of the AquaMap specific features or have any question about our digital products. Whatever questions you may have, we can reply to it. So Claudio, which maps do you use for Europe? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
Bob Scherer.
Yeah, go for it, Robert. We can't hear you, but go for it.
Okay, am I on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's good.
I can hear you. You can go on with the question.
Okay, I just want to make a comment that I have a tablet that has 5G capability, and I found out that with the gateway attached, the tablet still connects to Wi-Fi through its own internal 5G connection. So having a Wi-Fi gateway doesn't prohibit connection to the cell phone towers as you go down the ICW.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, just a Wi-Fi connection. Yes, you can still use your data connection with your data mobile connection, even if you connect with the Wi-Fi.
And one other comment, the importance of having the US ACE surveys cannot be overemphasized when you're going down the ICW, where shilling can occur frequently at areas that are not expected necessarily. And having the latest survey to the 1 foot accuracy is far beyond the capabilities of any other app. That capability cannot be overemphasized going down the ICW, unless, of course, you like to hit the ground a lot and call on CTO. But aside from that, you really do need that US ACE surveys. They're really important.
Yeah, I mean, it's talking about the US survey. This is, for example, Look Folly, that if any of you go along the intracoastal waterways, probably heard about it. And this is with the additional information on top, but if you get the official NOAA chart, this is what you get in this area. And that is substantially nothing. I mean, you have just to believe that the channel is going on in this way, but this is not what is going on here. This is what you have, for example, in this moment. This data is updated by us weekly. So, and normally this sandbar will grow. Some period of the year you can go through here. Some other period you have to go up here on the top part. And for going on this area could be also very useful to use Bob 423 tracks that I don't know if any of you already heard, but is an important resource for going up and down the intracoastal waterway.
Do you have any other questions, Robert? I can see a question from Duncan from what is the best tablet for use in a yacht? That obviously depends on your budget and whether you prefer Android or iPad. If you like Android, I think the best one at the moment is Sailproof. Is actually a marinized Android tablet, and not only is waterproof, but with readability when it's full sun, you can act. It's a very good tablet to use. So have a look at the Sailproof tablet for Android. We got another question from Gary. I'm going to reply directly by text to you. But yes, if your Aqua Yacht IS 2000 is not connected to the NMEA 2000 backbone, yes, you will need an interface. You will need to convert the data to your NMEA 2000 to connect it to NMEA 2000 backbone, and then with the Navlink 2, you can directly get all the data from your NMEA 2000 backbone.
Sorry, I understood now that it was muted when I answered to the question about which chart we use in Europe.
Yes,
sorry for that. In Europe, as all over the world, we use chart from all the official National Hydrographic Office. So we only use official charts from them without any modification. So we use UK, IHO, we use French one, German, Italian, Spain, Portugal, all the area that we cover are covered with charts coming directly from a hydrographic office and put on the app without any modification. This is one of our main philosophy on using the data. We try to integrate whatever we can, like you see on the screen from US, but without touching the data. So what you get is exactly what hydrographic office release.
Thanks for that. Claudio, we got a few questions, and one for yourself is there a way to see all of this information on a Garmin chart plotter rather than using a tablet?
Well, if Garmin at a certain point will allow us to run on their device, yes, but currently is not possible.
And then from Anthony Avalone, I will reply to that question. So Anthony, some of the chart plotter have their own built-in Wi-Fi network, that's correct, but it depends on which chart plotter, but most of them is only to be used with our own app. Like Remarin, for the previous Axiom, for instance, they were creating their own Wi-Fi network, and you could only use data on the Remarin app. So if you want, but for apps like AquaMap, you need to get the raw NMEA data. And for this, yes, you need an NMEA converter. So an NMEA converter, like those units I've explained to you earlier, whether it's a Domain 30 or Navlink 2. We got another question for you, Claudio, from Ed. He actually got some tablets stolen, and on his new tablet, it says that they've reached the maximum number of devices.
Yeah, we allow to use up to 5 devices. Sometimes there is some error in the counting, especially if you disinstall and reinstall the app. But in this case, it is enough that they write to our support. That is, I will write the support that is anyway quite easy. That is support to aquamap.app, and we will reset their count of devices. We are trying to improve a little bit this part because we know that sometimes the devices are not counted perfectly. There is some additional count. But anyway, if you write to us, we can reset it and everything will start to work again. We will answer to mail in 1 day.
Claudio, another questions for you. Is there a
Yeah.
route planner on AquaMap?
Yes.
And does it have the weather data planner as well?
When you say route planner, what you mean? So we don't do automatic route planning, if this is the question. We have what we call route explorer that help you when you have drawn your route, found all the interesting information along your route, but we don't have an automatic route planning. So we feel it a little bit too dangerous to automatically calculate the route by the application. So we ask you to draw manually a route, like for example, in this case, you have to draw manually the route on the cartography. So we don't do any automatic route. So because we feel it's a little bit too dangerous to do in condition like this one. I'm answering to your question.
Then we got another question, is if you can explain a bit more about the crowd-sourced bathymetry.
Yes, sure. Okay. Crowdsourced bathymetry is International Hydrographic Office initiative that has the goal to use real user in the world collect depth information that then will be shared and used by hydrographic office to correct the chart or eventually to go and do some additional relief. And this is an initiative that we are very proud to participate. So whatever has AquaMap in his hands can enable this feature and share all the information of depth received by the sounder and send to the hydrographic office, international hydrographic office, that will share to each national one. And in this way, I'll help the hydrographic offices to improve their chart. You can also, there is also a website from the NOAA in which you can access and see all the accumulated tracks from people following this initiative.
Claudio, can I add to that?
Yep.
Yeah, I work with NOAA relative to the collection of this data. And AquaMap is one of the few apps that will load your track to NOAA's database automatically, provided you permit it. And with that track, it loads automatically. Every GPS data point has a depth attached to it. And anybody can go into that database, and I have, and download a track, and for example, through a shallow area. And I did this yesterday, and I saw 4 separate tracks from AquaMap customers through a shallow area. And that shallow area varied in depth down to 4 feet to 6 feet. And so you get a real-time sense of how the depth of an area is changing over time by downloading those tracks from a NOAA database that was uploaded automatically by AquaMap. It's a very useful feature, and NOAA itself is very excited about the feature, and they collected from several apps, but notably in the US, AquaMap is one of the first. It's available for use by anybody.
Thanks.
Thanks for that, Robert. Yeah. Is there anyone with any other questions, or that's it for today?
Read your file. Call me.
I have not understood it. was a question or not.
Yeah, Claudio, we got some people thanking us for the
Okay, yeah,
webinar.
I see it. How do you access the NOAA tracks? Oh, okay, there is, let me see 1 second. This is the, there is the chat. This is the website that I wrote, is the website for assessing the crowdsourced bathymetry database.
So some other question. One from
Claudio,
Darcy. Oh, sorry.
can I interrupt for a moment? There's a step-by-step guide how to access that website, the NOAA website for bathymetry, on my download page. We can provide that link later on. It goes through about, it's not a one, unfortunately, it's not a one tap, to download. You got to select what you want. There's about 10 or 15 steps. But once you do it, you get access to all the NOAA data that's stored. Very valuable. No, we can add that link later on.
Okay, I just answered to a person asking if you will cover other feature like waterway guide and things like this, but not today. We hope to do further webinar and we will let you know eventually. Anyway, on our website, you can find many information about using waterway guide or active captain features.
And for the question from Frank, yes, we are going to send you an email with a YouTube link to watch this webinar again. Then Brad has replied to Robert. What do we got? A lot of questions. Yes, for Frank, you will need an NMEA to Wi-Fi to get the data onto the AquaMap app. Okay, you got one for you, Claudio, from Simon.
Yep.
Can you map weather data over several days on the app?
Weather.
Yes, weather.
Weather, yes. Sorry, what's happening here? Okay. Yes, we can have weather for currents, winds, and waves. And depending on the area of the world, we have different provider. If you want some more detail for the provider in the marine forecast, here you have the different database from which we take the information depending on the area. I'm very honest, I don't know all these different acronyms, and my colleague know much better, the person that is in charge of managing the weather data, but I know that we have some of the most advanced servers, especially in US, for use for wave, wind, and surface currents. I answered your question.
Claudio, I can add one comment to that. The weather selected for when is based on HRRR, NOAA's weather database. That is the latest and greatest thing from NOAA. And AquaMap displays it on your chart, as you can see. Well, in this case, it's current, but it displays a similar type of display for that based upon the HRRR weather model.
If you see here, it's HRRR here, yeah, in the wind.
I got interrupted with a telephone call, but that data model is the latest they have, and it's updated hourly. It's updated every time you load it, you get the latest model. A lot of the other weather models don't have that feature. They'll update it once every 6 hours, every 4 hours. AquaMap updates it on the hour. So you have the latest information all the time.
Yeah, and all we're talking about wind and weather, we have a 40 hours forecast available always. Any other question?
Yeah, we got a question from, can you use Explorer charts for the Bahamas?
Which chart for Bahamas? Sorry.
Explorer charts.
Yes, yes, we use Explorer charts in Bahamas. Yes, sure. And we are probably the only one. Let's see if I have something here. Let me just download. We are probably the only one that allow to use the data both in, sorry, 1 second, both in raster, like you see here, typical Explorer chart style, or in vector. We have vectorized the whole Bahamas by ourselves, and so you can have a vector or a raster, depending what you prefer to use for Bahamas.
I have replied to the question about the European, about the app. So Steve, Claudio explained earlier during his presentations the US specific features, and this webinar was mostly focused for the North American market. But bear in mind the Europe version of AquaMap is the same. It's the same as the US, except a bit of difference than we explained at the beginning of this webinar. And for Europe, it uses official charts, UCO, SHUM, etc. Do you have any other questions, anyone? Sarah will reply to you directly. So yeah, Sarah, you asked me whether if you have an NMEA to Wi-Fi, will you get wave, wind, currents? So this is for internet. So if you got a product like 4G Extreme, or if you got a tablet with a built-in SIM card with a 4G SIM card inside, then you can directly download all the wave, wind, currents. But for the rest, AIS, depth, speed of your boat, COG, wind, data, etc., that will come directly from your navigation sensors. And the NMEA to Wi-Fi will take all the data from your sensors, AIS, etc., and will display all the data onto the AquaMap app. I hope that answers your questions. So if you want internet as well, you can use a 4G Extreme or use the built-in 4G if you got a tablet with a SIM card. Yeah, Claudio, do you mind to unmute Dean? You got a question? He raised his hand.
Yep.
In the meantime, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to write on the chat box or directly raise, or you can raise your hand and we are going to unmute you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a suggestion more than anything else, really. This past summer, I spent quite a bit of time in Georgian Bay in Ontario, Lake Huron, and AquaMaps is wonderful up there. However, you use the local government charts, which are very limited for information in out-of-the-way places, and I don't know if you can take the data from your crowdsourced data and allow that in effect, or allow users to see it on AquaMap. But if you could do something like that, that would be very helpful where local charts are very limited with data. So just a suggestion.
Yeah, this is something that we were already thinking, but it's quite a sensitive topic, because obviously one thing is display chart display tracks. So we are thinking eventually to display the tracks from this crowdsourced bathymetry, for example. But then it's very different that having something, so something like a cartography calculated using these tracks. And this is a much more complex topic that takes into consideration tides, taking into consideration a lot of different aspects. So for the moment, we are evaluating if and how to show the user track, so eventually someone can follow an existing track, but not yet modifying or calculating a new cartography based on these tracks. Anyway, thanks for the suggestion.
Any other questions, or that's it for today? Well, I guess that's it for today then. Well, in that case, thank you all for having joined the webinar today. We are going to send you an email afterwards with a YouTube link to watch the webinar again. We are probably going to redo a webinar in March or February because in January we got a lot of boat shows and some other bits to do. So hopefully you can do a webinar pretty soon to show you the latest features on new products from Digital Yacht. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to drop an email at support@aquamap.app, or you can directly contact us, Digital Yacht, for digitalyachtamerica.com or digitalyacht.co.uk. Thank you all for today. Have a great day, and most important as well, have a lovely Christmas. Thank you all. Speak soon.
Hi to everyone. Merry Christmas also from our side.